Hi everyone, hope you've had a great week. I'm Nurse Cathy and it's time for 5 on Friday. So today what I want to talk about is knowing your numbers. We have been talking about the past few weeks about the importance of having your annual wellness visit and your preventive screenings. But there's 4 very important numbers that you need to be familiar with. And these numbers basically are guidelines to general health and well-being. So the first number I want to talk about is your blood pressure. High blood pressure, which is also referred to as hypertension, is a silent killer. There's many people out there that don't even know they have it. And so there's no signs or no symptoms associated. And 1 out of 3 people here in the United States, adults, have high blood pressure and don't even know it. Now, the healthy range that's been established is a blood pressure of less than 120/80. Now, if your blood pressure would be slightly elevated, your doctor's probably going to recommend that you modify your diet and exercise to try to bring those down. He'll do a very conservative approach, observing your blood pressure before he would initiate any type of medication. So remember to keep that number in mind, below 120/80. Now, some of you might have what we call white coat syndrome. I believe in it. It's a real thing. So what I do is I tell everyone that if you're one of those people that experience the white coat syndrome, what you need to do is get yourself a home blood pressure kit. They're very inexpensive, maybe $25 to $30 depending on where you buy them. They can be automated, so they're very easy to use. And what I recommend that you do is that you log your blood pressures for about, say, a 2-week period of time, and then take that log into your doctor's office when you have your office visit so that you can show your doctor kind of history of what your blood pressures have been, because it is a real thing that people, when they see the doctor, they experience some anxiety and stress, and that blood pressure does go up. The next number I want to talk to you about is your blood glucose. 90% of adults in the United States are pre-diabetic and they don't even know it. And by pre-diabetic, what they're looking at is they're assessing your weight, blood sugar, your BMI, and your cholesterol. If those are starting to show elevations, then they're going to put you in that bucket of pre-diabetic. Now, if your doctor's going to get a blood glucose, they're going to look at a range that's under 100. If they're looking at an A1C, they're going to look at a range that's less than 5.7. Now, I will recommend to our diabetic employees that if you are diabetic, that it's probably a good idea to keep a log also of what your readings are so that you can take that with you to the doctor. Oftentimes the doctor will say, what's your sugar's been running? And it's like, well, I can't remember. Well, I think it was this, I think it was that. So it's best just to have a log so that you can show that to the doctor along with your blood pressures. The third number I want you to be familiar with is your BMI. That's your body mass index. Now, 1 out of 3 adults in this country are overweight. 2 out of 3 are obese. That's a pretty significant amount. Your BMI is based on a ratio basically between your height and your weight. A healthy BMI is anywhere from 18.5 to 24.9%. You're considered overweight at 25 to 29.9%, and you're considered obese at 30 or above. Your body structure and how muscular you are will also play a part in your BMI, because you could be very muscular in your body structure and have a high BMI but not necessarily be overweight. Now, one thing also that you can kind of look at is your hip to waist ratio. What you can do is take a tape measure around the belly button area, and for men, if you get a reading of 40 inches or greater, you're considered at risk for heart disease. And ladies, if you get a reading of 35 inches or greater, you're at risk for heart disease. Now, the fourth number that I want you to be familiar with is your LDL, or your cholesterol. LDL is your, quote, bad cholesterol. There are 73.5 million people in the United States with high cholesterol. There's only about 1/3 of them that are under control. Now, with your LDL, your bad cholesterol, we want to have a reading of less than 100. With your HDL, or the happy cholesterol, the good cholesterol I call it, we want it to be 40 or above for men and 50 above for ladies. Altogether, for total cholesterol, when you're looking at the total of the LDL and the HDL, they like to see that amount less than 200. Now, the labs, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, those all have to be fasting labs, and what we refer to as fasting lab is that you had nothing to eat or drink prior to like an 8 to 10 hour period of time. So generally the rule of thumb is you don't drink or eat anything after midnight the night before. Let me give you a little secret to what I like to do. I like to schedule my appointments with my physician to get my my physical and my labs drawn early in the morning, preferably the first appointment in the morning or second appointment, very early in the morning, so that I can get it done. And I like the one-shop stop, meaning I see my doctor and I get my labs drawn at the same time. Some of your doctor's offices are able to draw the labs there. Some of them have adjacent labs or there's a lab nearby. But I recommend that you do everything the same day, get it all taken care of, because we have a tendency that if the doctor says, here's your labs, here's an order to go get them drawn, we have a tendency to put it aside and go get it done, and then we've missed our opportunity to have the screenings completed. So I do recommend that you schedule an appointment with your doctor and try to arrange to get your labs done at the same time. Now, I know I've given you a whole lot of information here that's probably just sounds like a lot of numbers that really doesn't have much understanding or meaning right now. But if you go to your employee wellness page on Healthy Columbus and go to Employee Benefits 101, there will be a brain chart there that will explain further some of the information that I've just discussed with you. So take care, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.